Welcome back to Chapter 1, Part 2. We're going to start talking about units. Now, the units are really important when we talk about physics because without units, you don't really know what you're talking about. And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. What we're going to use in this course, we're going to use standard international units all the time. And standard international units are things like meters, kilograms, seconds, amperes. There was a push when I was a kid to move the U.S. over to SI units, and it didn't quite work. But in the scientific world, it did. So if you become a doctor, you're going to use SI units. If you become a nurse, you're going to use SI units. Even our engines that we talk about for cars have changed over to SI units because we talk about how many liters an engine has, not how many cubic inches anymore. So SI units are making their way into the language. They're making their way into your language in ways you don't even know yet. So we're going to be using SI units throughout. It's one of those things you'll have to get get accustomed to. You have to look at and understand where it all is. In your text, there is a table C6 of SI units. So take a look at that table. Other things we'll be looking at: physical quantities. We have a table of physical quantities in the book, table C1, table C2. They're all there. We have things like the mass of the electron, mass of the proton, mass of the neutron, and what we call an atomic mass unit. So, and these are all in kilograms, by the way, over here, right? And here's an illustration of why units are so very important. Students often make the mistake of thinking the number is the most important thing. And some of that is because we get to this through mathematics usually. And usually in math, you're much more worried about what the number is. But in physics, the number isn't the whole story. It's only sort of a piece of the story. And in fact, having the wrong units in some ways makes the problem completely wrong. So, units are extremely important. Now here's an example of why units are extremely important. Here's a recipe without the units. Guess what it is, right? I mean, you've got no chance of guessing what this is. This is just numbers. And this is the kind of answer we get sometimes on tests when students are trying to solve something. They just give us a number. And I'm like, a number? I don't know what a number means. How far is it to the next town over? 5. 5 what? 5 miles, 5 kilometers, 5 feet. So just the number doesn't really tell us what you think it does. It's not enough information. So let's look at it without the numbers and just the units. Okay, so cups of white sugar, cups of all-purpose flour, cups of unsweetened cocoa powder, eggs, milk, vegetable oil. This is obviously chocolate cake or brownies or something like that, right? Without the units, you actually have much more information than you do when you just have without the numbers, without the numbers, you actually have much more information than you do without the units. The units are what we're talking about. The numbers are how much. Okay, so that's my little rant about units. Please remember, units are extremely, extremely important. They tell us what we're talking about. All right, I'll talk to you on the next section.